Thank you for subscribing to this channel. This is a reading part C practice video.
The correct option is A. Stress the significance of family involvement in resuscitation attempts. The paragraph mentions that the idea of supporting relatives who witness resuscitation is not new and has been researched since the 1980s. It also mentions that a booklet published by the Research Council's UK in 1996 called Should Relatives Witness Resuscitation? Suggested that family members who witness the resuscitation process may have a healthier bereavement and may feel reassured that everything possible has been done. The paragraph concludes by stating that it is more distressing for a relative to be separated from their family member during this critical time. Therefore, the paragraph emphasizes the importance of involving family members in the resuscitation process, which is reflected in option A. Option B is incorrect because although the paragraph mentions the benefits of family presence during resuscitation, it does not explicitly state that they are significant. Option C is incorrect because the paragraph does not suggest that witnessed resuscitation is outdated. Option D is incorrect because the paragraph acknowledges that CPR may be distressing but does not state that being a witness to resuscitation is traumatic.
Let's look at the next question.
The correct option is C, must not be denied because of personal feelings. The paragraph explains that in the latest edition of its Advanced Life Support Manual, the RCUK remains adamant that many relatives want the opportunity to be present during the attempted resuscitation of their loved one. But the decision to offer this option should not be solely in the hands of the resuscitation team or the nurse caring for the patient. Judith Goldman, a clinician and researcher at the University of Michigan, USA, suggests that the decision to offer the option of witnessing a resuscitation attempt should be evidence-based, and not based on the personal anxieties of the resuscitation team or nurse. Therefore, option C is correct because the paragraph emphasizes that the decision to allow family members to witness resuscitation attempts should not be denied based on personal feelings, but rather be based on evidence-based practice. Option A is incorrect because the paragraph does not suggest that witnessed resuscitation should not be the sole decision of the resuscitation team. Option B is incorrect because the paragraph does not suggest that witnessed resuscitation needs to be made available to all families. Option D is incorrect because the paragraph does not mention the number of relatives who request witnessed resuscitation.
Let's look at the next question.
The correct option is B, show that the opinion of the RCUK has not changed. The paragraph explains that in the latest edition of its Advanced Life Support Manual, the RCUK remains adamant that many relatives want the opportunity to be present during the attempted resuscitation of their loved one. The phrase, remains adamant, implies that the opinion of the RCUK has not changed, despite the passage of time and the evolution of medical practices. Therefore, option B is correct because the phrase, remains adamant, is used to show that the opinion of the RCUK has not changed. Option A is incorrect because the paragraph does not argue that relatives should have the ultimate decision. Option C is incorrect because the paragraph does not express that greater understanding is needed from staff. Option D is incorrect because the paragraph does not emphasize RCUK's opposition to excluding family, but rather emphasizes that the decision to offer the option of witnessed resuscitation should not be based on personal anxieties of the resuscitation team or nurse. The correct option is D, as Frank Lang suggests that discussing witnessed resuscitation with patients and/or relatives upon admission to intensive care would certainly help. And recent studies show public support for witnessed resuscitation and a desire to be included in the resuscitation process. He adds that the decision regarding whether to be present during resuscitation should be left to the individual person, because it's not for everyone. But medical teams need to gauge whether witnessed resuscitation would have benefits for the patient and/or the relatives, which can only be done through a holistic assessment of the specific situation at the time. Therefore, the suggestion is that early consultation with staff could benefit patients and family members. Option A is incorrect because there is no mention of patients and family members struggling to comprehend the process of CPR in the paragraph. Option B is also incorrect because there is no mention of follow-up support being required from resuscitation teams. Option C is not entirely correct, as the paragraph does suggest that there is some understanding of witnessed resuscitation among the public. But it does not suggest that all patients and family members have a good understanding of it.
Option A is correct according to the paragraph because it specifically mentions that a member of the team, ideally the nurse caring for the patient in cardiac arrest, be designated for that role and remain with the family during the whole process, and explain everything that is happening. This implies that the designated team member should provide constant reassurance to the family members. Option B is incorrect as the paragraph does not mention that the team member will find the experience as stressful as family members. Option C is incorrect as the paragraph suggests that health professionals should explain everything that is happening, which includes providing information to the family members. Option D is also incorrect as the paragraph suggests that a designated team member should explain everything to the family members, rather than each individual family member separately.
Let's look at the next question.
Option C is correct according to the paragraph, as it specifically mentions that the nurse should inform the resuscitation team leader when the relatives should enter the resuscitation area, and that the team retains the option to request that the family be escorted away from the bedside and/or out of the room if deemed appropriate. This implies that the point at which family members enter or leave the scene is important during resuscitation. Option A is incorrect, as the paragraph does not suggest that establishing that the resuscitation team are in charge is the most important aspect during resuscitation. Option B is incorrect, as the paragraph does mention the importance of discussing the wishes of the patient and/or relatives as soon as possible to act in their best interests, but it does not suggest that this is the most important aspect during resuscitation. Option D is also incorrect, as the paragraph does not mention the importance of remaining courteous when requesting relatives to leave. However, it does suggest that the team should be non-judgmental and supportive of the relatives' decisions, regardless of whether they choose to be present or not.
Let's look at the next question.
Option B is correct according to the paragraph. Judith Goldman suggests that families who wish to be present may struggle to understand why they cannot enter at certain times. She mentions that the nurse should inform the resuscitation team leader and seek their approval before allowing the family to enter the resuscitation area, and the team retains the option to request that the family be escorted away from the bedside and/or out of the room if deemed appropriate. Such decisions are not taken lightly, and the team needs to consider times when all members of staff are fully occupied and there is no one available to stay with the family. This can be especially hard for them to take. Option A is incorrect because the paragraph does not mention anything about extra staff not being available. Option C is incorrect because the paragraph does not suggest that families prefer to remain with the allocated member of staff. Option D is also incorrect because the paragraph does not discuss families' concerns about witnessing the resuscitation. Option D is correct because the paragraph states that providing assistance is crucial for families to get through such a stressful and shocking event, and that professional bereavement counseling outside of the hospital can help with symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. This suggests that families are likely to struggle to overcome the experience. Option A is incorrect because the paragraph suggests that families should be pointed towards professional bereavement counseling, but it does not say that they are required to seek it. Option B is incorrect because while the paragraph suggests that families should be pointed towards all available support services within the hospital, it also suggests that professional bereavement counseling outside of the hospital may be beneficial. Option C is incorrect because the paragraph does not mention anything about families regretting their decision to remain present.